it's Julia. Welcome back to a new video. Today is very exciting because I have everyone's favorite person, Lindy Jo! Yay! Yay! So today's video is all about the world race. It has been officially 2 years since we got back from the world race. The official anniversary, I think, was last week. Yeah. I don't remember the exact day, but people were talking about it on social media, and I was sitting at my desk at work, and I was like, Lindy, you're coming this weekend, like, perfect, we're gonna make a video about it. Is that okay? Yes. If you've never been to my channel before, my name is Julia, welcome. We are gonna be talking about a mission trip that we did 2 years ago, and it was 11 months long. It's called the World Race, and we went to a different country every single month, and we vlogged the entire thing. I'll link down below the playlist if you have literally never seen my channel before and you're interested in checking that out. So today we're just talking about what it's been like since, and I posted on my Instagram story asking you guys to send us ideas to talk about and questions that you had. A lot of you had some awesome questions about the world race in general, and so I'll just like DM you back because we're not talking about the specific race today. We're gonna be just talking about what has the past 2 years been like and how did the race affect us, like with all of the hindsight that we now have. So if you asked a question like that or proposed a topic, a lot of you guys just proposed topics, we'll be talking about that today. So first, I thought to get started, since you haven't been on the channel in a while, a little bit, I thought you could tell everyone what have you been doing the past 2 years. Also, I want to say, I counted, for the past 2 years, Lindy Jo and I have seen each other in person 6 times. Six times.
I came home from the world race and went straight into graduate school for a communication disorders degree. And so I just graduated 2 weeks ago with my master's in communication.
Wait, let's have a quick dance party for you.
Congratulations. Work so hard, forgot how to vacation.
Okay, anyways, what did you get your degree in?
Communication disorders.
Yay, and that's what
so
I keep interrupting you. Go ahead, it's your floor, it's your camera.
It's me. So I'm going to be, I am looking for a job in speech language pathology, which is speech therapy. So I went and did my undergrad in that, and so came back after the world race. Master's program, looking for a job.
She's now a master.
I am a master.
So she's been lazy the past 2 years doing nothing.
I've been mastering things, and now I've mastered it.
No, I was understand. So, where did you get your master's?
At the University of Texas at Dallas. So I've lived in Dallas for the past 2 years as well. I'm gonna stay there.
What else have you been doing? I heard you have a dog.
I have a dog named Lucy. She is a mutt. She's like a poodle mix, and then
she looks like a grandma.
She does.
She's a grandma dog.
Yeah, my sister also said she looks like a grandpa. She looks like she would be owned by the elderly, but she's cute. And so I got her pretty quick after moving to Dallas, and then I joined a church in Dallas called Antioch Community Church, and I lead a small group there.
I mean, if you've been watching my channel, you know what I've been doing, but we can recap it. I moved to Gainesville, where the headquarters of the world race is, Adventures and Missions, and I started my own program called Kingdom Journey Storytellers. I led a storytelling trip to Southeast Asia for 3 months. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. And we put together a documentary. I'll link it down below. It's 6 episodes long. It's called Wider Lens. Even though it was the hardest thing I've ever done, at the end of the day, I'm pretty proud of that series, so I'll link that down below. And then I moved to Atlanta and worked at a startup. That was not a good fit. Then I quit. Look, the boat going by. Behind us is the lake. We're at the lake right now.
Or behind y'all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, behind us is a bed. I moved to Atlanta, and then I was doing freelance copywriting. All of a sudden, I was a copywriter. It just like popped out of nowhere, and then a copywriting job became available at Adventures and Missions. So I was like, you know what? I want that. So I moved back to Gainesville, and I now work in the marketing department for Adventures and Missions, and I now market the world race, which is funny. Full circle.
You also taught English for a while.
I taught English for a while. I still technically can. They just sent me a thing about renewing my contract. Okay, this is from Maggie XUM. Looking back 2 years later, what is the most evident thing that the Lord taught you on the race? Take it away, Lindy.
I think a lot like had to do with my identity, and Oh.
I'm just agreeing.
And like it was really great being in such a tight-knit community because like people are constantly like pouring into your life and talking into your identity. And so coming home, like that was something I had to cling to because I wasn't in such a tight-knit community, or I didn't have people like giving feedback all the time or just like affirming me. And so like I've gone through phases over the past 2 years where I like lost sight of that, but then like the Lord like brings it back. And so that was like one of the toughest lessons I learned, but then it's like constantly like being brought back into my life, and like through church people or through just like my quiet time, realizing like that was such a big impact on my life and that it continues to impact my life.
Yeah, I think I just have an enormous amount of self-awareness and like tools to understand when I'm not acting healthy or when I'm thinking things that don't line up with what God would say is true or what the Bible would say or the gospel would say is true, that I didn't have before. And so I know when I'm thinking irrationally or when I'm hearing lies or when I'm acting unhealthy. Like I'm very aware of it and like have tools to get out of it and to fix it. Okay, this is from Brittany LP92. Have you kept in touch and maintained great friendships even when living in different places? Well, I feel like everyone lives in Texas, so you have an advantage. I think it's important to note I have not maintained relationships with everyone on the squad, and probably not with 95% of them. But I don't think that's bad. I think that that's good. I can't possibly maintain good friendships with all of them. In fact, I didn't even have close friendships with all of them on the race. So why would I? You know, you can only have so many friends in your life, that like real substantial friendships. So I've maintained probably like 3 deeper ones that I feel really good about. And so I'd say how we text a lot and message a lot, call each other. One thing I did recently is I started putting all the important things in Lindy's life on my calendar.
So sweet. And she sent me flowers for graduation,
which I wouldn't have remembered to do if I didn't put on my calendar. I have your birthday and your graduation, your job interview. If you have a date, I put on my calendar so that I can remember. I've been trying to improve hospitality lately, just the general hospitality. So
that's a good way to do
for
it. For
people that like I really, really, really want to pursue, I've been like using my calendar to remind me. Yeah, I guess like with friendship is just like a romantic relationship. Like you have to pursue it, and it's a 2-way street.
No.
And also, one thing I found about friendships is like some people want different things out of friendships. Like if I'm gonna have an intimate friendship with someone, I want like to be pursued, and I want like effort on both sides, and I want like consistent communication, and I want you to ask me about my life, and I want it. And I've noticed that like not everybody wants or needs that out of friendships. So that's a new revelation I learned as a 27-year-old.
In my 27th year.
So yeah, it's actually my 28th year. I get really angsty about this. People really mess this up. Because people like will turn 27 or whatever age they're turning, and they're like, this is day 1 of my 27th year. And I'm like, it's actually the last day. It's actually the day 1 of your 28th year. Because when you're born, it's your first year of life, and then you have your first birthday, so you're 1, and you've lived a year of life, and it's now the beginning of your 2nd year. It's basic math. It's like that whole day 100 of the world race, and we had a debate about whether it was day 100 or day 101. I still get mad about that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I still get mad about that.
Okay.
I was going through this process that month about trying not to correct people and not needing to be right all the time, so I didn't correct anyone, but I wanted to so badly. I'm still thinking about it. Okay, anyways.
Lessons learned.
Okay, this is from Sweet Fidum. It's cute. And how did you find community when you came back? I feel like I just said this, like I worked at Adventures in Missions where everyone was super like-minded, so I feel like I had an unfair advantage, but what did you do?
So what did I do? Well, I lived with my family for the first 3 months, and so I just kind of like, I knew I was moving to Dallas, so I didn't really seek out a lot of community in that, just like hung out with Holly and then my family. Holly, my best friend. And then when I moved to Dallas, I lived with a roommate from undergrad, and that was great. but I like needed more than just like the acquaintances I had at school and like that friendship. And so I started church searching, and I went to a ton of churches, and as soon as I found a church that like just like felt like the Lord had sent me there, I jumped into a small group and started like going to literally everything they did. Like people were like, oh, we're going to dinner, I'm there, I'm coming. So because it was really hard going from such an intentional community to having zero community, or like feeling like you had zero community. And so I jumped in with both feet once I found one that really fit my lifestyle and what I was searching for. So
yeah, it can be really disorienting when you first get home, because like everyone is like, you're around people all the time, and they're so invested in you, and they're like giving you prophetic words, and they're giving you feedback, and they're just like giving you Snickers bars, and it's like they're like this crazy rich community, and then you feel like no one understands you, no one like knows your inside jokes. You just like can feel really alone and like disillusioned and confused. I know like the first 2 weeks I was home, I was like, my parents don't understand me, and I was like crying all the time, and like everything made me upset. And I was like everything my mom said, I was like, ah, you're so mean. Like, but what I think like to get out of that, I mean, you have to be really intentional. Like you can't just like sit and feel bad for yourself
or wait for it to come to you.
Yeah, you have to create what you want, or go find what you want, because it might already exist.
Yeah.
But you can't just sit in your room and think that the community that you want to exist is going to come to your room.
Yeah.
She also said, how do you keep living what you learned while on the race?
I think a lot of like what I live out from the world race is like, one, being more open about my faith and like talking about it with people that like before I probably would have like reserved it for like one part of my life, but like in the hospitals, because I had an internship doing speech therapy in a hospital, like I talked about my faith. I was like very open about it with my supervisor and some of my patients when it was appropriate. And then also how I relate to people, like knowing that everybody like doesn't have the same background as me, or doesn't see things the way I see them, or has their own stuff that they're carrying. And so like being more like grace giving in those situations, and realizing that people aren't out to get you. Like everybody's basic, or like for the most part, people are trying to like just do their best. And so I think that I learned that a lot on the world race, and like relationships there's always two points of view to it. And so like I'm like trying to come in from their side as much as your own, and not like taking offenses as much as I probably did in the past.
Sharing your faith, being on mission, like thinking evangelically, like can happen literally anywhere. It doesn't really, I mean, it happens within your family, it can happen at the grocery store, it can happen in your workplaces, anywhere you can build a relationship, or anywhere you can talk to anyone, like, that's where it's gonna happen. And it doesn't have to be a formal trip. It can be a formal trip, it can be overseas, it can be anywhere. It can look like anything. And you like grow that boldness, and that you realize that it's just a part of the way you interact, and it's part of the way you live your life. And it's not necessarily like, okay, I do this on Saturdays, or I do this like once a year in February, like on my trip to Barbados. Like it's just becomes like a part of your character.
Yeah, and like when like sharing your faith with your family made me think of this as like things aren't just gonna happen like just because people know you're a Christian. Like, or my family, like they're Christians. I'm very lucky to be like in a Christian family, but like there are things that I kept desiring from my siblings or my sisters and my parents that like weren't happening like organically. And so like within the last 8 months, I've been more like initiating those things. So like my family had a prayer and worship night like 6 months ago, and like that was so great for us to just like pray over each other, and like it was stepping out of the comfort zone for like my father, but it was like really great for him, and like pushing past like what we would normally do as a family, and like creating our own little like Christian community within that, our own church within that, knowing that we should stop and pray when one of the babies falls and we're all scared, or like speaking into each other, like kind of prophesying over each other, but my dad might not be like, you know, like creating what you want out of your family and not just being like the kid anymore was something I've like taken over in the past 6 months.
That's really cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
One thing, this is just like a tangent topic that I thought of, but I feel like you learn a lot about healthy communication and like upfront direct communication, and that's my natural bent anyways, but I feel like you're gonna come home and I don't know what your family's like, but that might not be what they want to do. And so you have to have a lot of patience and grace, and I feel like with your family there's like, it's harder to or it's easier to like lose your temper and get frustrated and more emotional because there's so much history there. So if that is the case where you want to have like all this upfront, direct, non-passive aggressive communication, and that's not your family's been, like you have to be patient and graceful and just lead by example, and you can't just be like, well, you guys don't know, you guys are the worst, you're not healthy. Like that's not healthy. No one wants to talk to you anymore. Yeah, that won't be the great pathway to get there. Yeah. Okay, so there's a two-parter. It's a lot. It's a big one. Okay, ready?
I'm being made for this.
Do you feel like the world race was worth it 2 years later? Are you glad you went? And would you go again? And I don't mean like go back in time. I mean like would you literally go again? So part 1, do you feel like it was worth it 2 years later? Are you glad you went?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Should I expand on why?
Yeah.
I mean, it brought so much growth in my life, and it was like, it's brought a lot of perspective too, and like, I just like the way I relate to people is so different.
I wanted to go in the race because I wanted some kind of like a firm foundation for my faith. I just felt like coming back into the faith, I felt like super just like wobbly and like wanted to know the Lord really well, and I feel like that's what I got out of it. Yeah. Like I do have that like strong foundation that I really don't feel like it's gonna go anywhere. And so yeah, it's not like the pinnacle of my life, but it was like a really big deal. I'd say more formative than college or anything else I did. Yeah. That like really positively affects my character, and I still think about it. I don't think about it every day, but I think about it a lot. Yeah. If I could go back in time at 100 million times over, it would do it again. Yeah. But I would not do it a second time. I thought about this a lot. I think if you asked me like when I got home, I might do it again, but not now. I did do 3 months. Yeah. So I think, 3 months. But, and it was different. We had a higher budget. It was a little bougier. So I guess I did in some sense do it a quarter of the way. I think if you came up to me and really flattered me and was like, Julie, I like really want you to do this again and like be a squad. Like I think I would have been like, okay. But now, absolutely not. Yeah. It would take a big hand of work. I can't talk today. It would take a lot of like obvious, evident word from the Lord if you were gonna get me to do that again. Yeah, I would. It's just so long. Yeah. And yeah, I wouldn't.
I think, yeah, too, like my ministries that I loved the most from the world race were started by people in that country, and it really taught me like how the Lord wants us to invest wherever we're at. And so it like made my heart more towards America and like investing like where I'm at in America. But there are totally people that are called to international stuff, but I just don't feel like that's what the Lord has for me at this time. And so doing another world race would not fulfill the call that I have on my heart to like invest where I am in America, in Texas.
Okay, so a lot of you guys asked like really similar questions, so if you didn't hear your exact question read out, I'm sorry, but I definitely read all of them. I appreciated all of them. They helped form kind of the basis of the video, and a lot of you again asked questions that were more about the race, and I have answered that in other videos, so I will answer you back directly because I appreciate you asking the question. I do appreciate you watching this video, so I don't want you to feel left out, so I will answer your question, just not in the video. So thanks so much for participating on Instagram. Thanks so much for watching this video. Thank you to Lindy for being on my channel and flying here to hang out with me for Memorial Day weekend.
I came just for this video, let's be honest.
Yeah, I paid her. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you in the next one soon. Again, if you are brand new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. I post videos on Sundays, not every Sunday, but usually on a Sunday. My mom gets really angsty about that. She's like, it's not every Sunday. Well, I never said it was ever. Well, actually, I did try to. Oh, whatever, you know.
Sundays.
Some Sundays. All right. Thanks for watching this video. Bye.
And if you want it, come and get it. Crying